Hello, welcome back. Today is November 19th. We're edging closer to Thanksgiving, and today we're doing security and nonsense. Weird breakdown.
Security, first we will look at security that could be good for you, but oh boy, are the Sony lawyers busy. They are going to really try to get in front of this.
A pair of PS5 hacks could be the first step towards jailbreaking Sony's latest console. So the hacks are the keys, because some of the encryption keys are console specific, but the master key somebody also got a hold of, so it may not matter.
I think though the problem is, with the update cycle and these being mostly online units, it doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah.
It's much harder to have a cracked console.
Well, it's important though from like an archive standpoint. If you want to be able to play a PS5, in 2037. You're going to have a modified game that doesn't have the online component or has the online component recreated for offline and a modified console, which makes preservation that much more difficult.
Which is exactly the thing that Sony does not want you to be able to do, which is why they build it that way.
Yeah.
Watch Wendell's emulation video for more.
Yeah.
The hacks keep becoming more and more frequent. They keep getting more and more data, and the reason for that seems to be because everybody is keeping everything. They're just stockpiling. They're just spying and piling it up, like the NSA's vision years and years ago. But now everybody's doing it, even down to local police departments.
Transparency activists dump 1.8 terabytes of police helicopter surveillance footage. Theoretically, that should be available through a Freedom of Information request, too. But the 1.8 terabytes shows some really deeply disturbing things. Police just sort of arbitrarily using the content, and they're like, hey, let's point it at that building and see if we can see the people inside the building. Yup, we can. Oh, that's neat, Bill. That's not, we shouldn't use police equipment to do that.
And they didn't have the presence of mind to delete that afterwards.
They're like, oh, we can put that on the hard drive.
Yeah, that's just there forever.
I bet there will be a lot of prosecutions and a lot of things that go down because of this, right?
No. Someday this is going to be used as a data set to train an AI, too.
Someday. Google's already working on this.
So it's already been fed to at least 3 dozen different research projects. What are you talking about?
The NVIDIA helicopter team got this 3 days ago. The infrastructure bill has passed. It passed without most people knowing what was in it. That's how we do that these days in the government. And now we're uncovering all these...
It's like Christmas presents. It's like, oh, surprise. And it's like, that's just not a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it's a Christmas present, but it's all just like you owe other people money or something like that. It's bad surprises for Christmas. And this is one that, we don't know how they'll use this right now, but we do know that the requirement is in there and they have to do something.
Infrastructure bill's drunk driving tech mandate leaves some privacy advocates nervous. So new monitoring technology for new vehicles in a few years to tell if a driver's intoxicated, or if the technology has reason to believe the driver's intoxicated, it should take action to stop them from driving.
Now you might be thinking, well, this could save some lives, and you know what? I don't care to blow into a device and everything like that. That's okay. And there's also, they're saying maybe a touch device. They're in the works that could do this. But think about this. The device does not only have to know that you blow clean for alcohol. It has to know that you're the one driving the car. Someone else in the car isn't blowing for you, which means there has to be a camera at all times.
Yeah.
Which means that camera has to feed back to whoever is measuring whether or not you're doing the right thing.
Which is going to be another one of those data sets.
Which is going to get leaked. And you're going to be picking your nose in your car, blowing into your breathalyzer, and we're going to see it.
I was going to say, it's just going to be a lot of photos of everyone blowing into that, and that's going to be terrible.
And you might think that that's innocent enough, but someone will think of your engagement challenge is, what can you do with that data set that is like the darkest timeline thing? Because we can't even conceive of it now, but it will happen.
Well, one thing they can do is instant location data, right? Because it's going to timestamp and GPS stamp every time you blow into it.
Yeah.
And they're kind of already doing that. It's just a little bit worse. And cybersecurity, we are terrible at it. We cannot stop them from getting in. We can't stop them from stealing the data. We can't stop them from stealing the crypto. But we are moderately good at trying to catch them afterwards.
The BBC News, the headline is REvil, the day of reckoning for notorious cyber gang. I think this is a rehash of the article from Monday. There's a little bit more and different information here. This makes it seem like it's an absolute win for law enforcement, but really, I think they just got two of the low-level functionaries that had millions of dollars, to be sure. But
6 million.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's not. There's more.
Yeah, sure, a lot more. But you got to roll your wins out when you can, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Make people think you're doing something.
So the next generation of ransomware people need to have some patsies set up so that then they can disappear and the patsies can be handed over to law enforcement. Everybody wins.
I think you're right. I think that's what just happened there. Yeah. So good job, ransomware people. And hey, we're going to give you these two that we don't care about, and we're going to give you 6 million.
Yeah, you get a tiny percentage back of the money that we've collected.
This is your administrative fee. Thank you for opening up your network.
You can use the money you collected to pay for their lifetime jail sentences.
Now, this story is in the security section for 2 reasons. One is obvious, because this is a security event, although it's not necessarily like an online security event. But more importantly, is what's going to happen now that they know exactly which cards were stolen. That's the security concern.
Truckload of GPUs stolen on their way out of San Francisco. NVIDIA partner EVGA has already voided the warranty and said that whoever nabbed them maybe will be flushed out due to the lack of warranty. Or if they try to sell them and then people try to register their cards, they'll have clues about where the cards went.
So they can turn off your NVIDIA cards remotely if they don't like you.
Well, not turn it off, but like if you try to register it, it's not going to work.
Oh, well, they're not telling you that they can do that. But do you really think that they can't?
It's probably only 1 or 2 steps away where it's like, oh, your serial number is not a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you hear? Sorry.
Is it boiler snake?
Yeah. So what is that I'm hearing over there?
That is the wind. So
right, yeah.
That's the wind coming in from the first floor coming up.
Oh, I was wondering if there was like a mouse over there. I was like trying to see, but
Yeah, we're in some insane wind conditions right now.
Yeah, remember, the old building was designed to breathe. So at the ceiling level, there's all this airflow to like let air move around through everything, which is kind of cool. But also it gets weird when you like start stuffing and blocking things with those natural air passages.
Well,
I was hoping to see a mouse, but
why would you hope for a mouse?
because they're cute.
No.
You want to get some in your house?
No, the barn cats take care of that.
You need some regular cats, Krista.
I've been looking.
I thought we'd been talking about getting a cat for a long time.
We have been. We haven't gone to look at any yet.
Well, this is our hack of the week, and it is a big name. And oddly enough, they kind of downplayed this. Like they really did not. Like I have an account with them. You know what sucks is for tax reasons, I have to keep that account open, even though I don't want to be in business with them anymore. And they get to keep my data for 6 years because of the SEC. I can't escape them for another 6 years.
Not just the SEC, IRS too.
Disgusting.
Robinhood says that it was hacked and extorted, but nobody lost any money. The online trading company said a hacker obtained the email addresses of 5 million users and the full names of 2 million users.
I kind of doubt that's all, right?
Yeah.
That's not very... I mean, if you're a hacker, you're not going to stop there.
Seems like no.
That's a useless data set. You want more than that. Or maybe they were good enough to... It was social engineering. They identified the exact person who got them on the phone,
Oh,
charmed them into it.
that's why you never get on the phone.
Well, Robinhood certainly goes a long way of not giving you anybody to talk to on the phone, that's for sure. Especially after the game stonks, I bet. This story should make you just like blood should shoot out of your nose and your ears, and you should start just smashing your screen and running out in the streets. You won't, but you should.
Denuvo-Protected game rendered unplayable after the domain expired. So this affected a lot of Denuvo-Protected games for a few hours, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that. And it was just because the domain expired.
Whoops.
Don't you feel good about that DRM? But that is not our only DRM story this week, and this one is maybe a little worse. You see these new CPUs, they've got special cores, and DRM looks for things like special processors.
This is different.
And
I don't know what
says,
this is.
Yeah,
No.
this is not the same. This must be a second computer. You're using a second computer for targeting. We know what you're doing.
These 50-plus PC games are incompatible with Alder Lake CPUs due to DRM. So Intel is literally using their 800-pound gorilla status to, bludgeon fixes for these games, but there's still a lot of games that are affected by this.
So where's the list? There we go.
Ooh, that's a lot of them.
Anthem with that Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Remember when AMD launched and the reason they had problems with some games was their random number generator was actually broken? But they fixed that. And then this is like, oh yeah, it doesn't work.
This is Windows 10 only.
Well, they fixed, like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and some of those other ones are fixed, but can still, it's fixed, but still maybe some weird glitches.
That's even worse.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, did the game crash? Or was that just because it got scheduled on the small core at just the wrong time? Could go either way.
It's repulsive. But not as repulsive as this. And this is going to be everyone's life from now on. I don't see this not happening in any way. I don't see anybody being able to stand up to this.
Microsoft will now snitch on you at work like never before. This is actually a repeat of a story from 2 years ago where Microsoft was going to turn some of this stuff on and they delayed. They're turning that stuff on, but now also even more stuff on top of that. So the features have always been there. They just were like, oh, was this a little tone deaf? Because originally it was going to roll out in Skype for Business and then Teams and then
Skype for Business.
Some other things. And so now it's also in the browser. So like if you use the corporate browser, Microsoft can give you telemetry on, oh, these people are doing some unsafe things in the browser. Or unsafe is like visiting
Pornhub.
eBay.
Pornhub for sure. Yeah. Well, sad. I suppose this is where you pitch Linux, right? But it's at your workplace.
You got Edge on Linux.
Oh, right. Yeah. You and that other guy. Well, Peloton, the hot exercise bike company, I think they moved into some other features as well. They always had a weird business model, which was you pay a lot of money for your equipment, and then you pay a monthly fee to keep using it.
That makes me furious. I don't have one. I don't ever intend on getting one, but it makes me furious that that's a thing.
Now, you could argue that after a couple of years of that, people are figuring out, hey, times are getting tough, inflation is up. I don't need this subscription. This is something I should easily cut out of my life. This should be the first thing I get rid of. But Peloton says no. It's Tim Cook's fault.
They stumbled and pulled out a popular excuse. It's partly Apple's fault. So Gizmodo talks about how their finances aren't real good. Probably something to do with the aforementioned subscriptions. But they say, no, we can't advertise as effectively anymore for people that want our products, and therefore we're not selling new products, and that's why our numbers aren't as good.
There probably is some truth to the fact that Peloton is a churn company, right? Like, you probably pick somebody up, you hit them real big in the beginning, and you get like 6-7 months out of them, and then you lose them. If you can't do that constantly, you're in trouble. So you got to keep advertising.
That sounds like an MLM with extra steps.
More automated.
Yeah.
But you can post on social media and be like, look, I biked for 2 hours today in the Andes.
You were just in your house.
You were eating chips. And this is just it's
sad.
It's a sad story, but it's adorable video because you get to see it.
Deer spotted in Michigan with plastic pumpkin stuck over its face. So the firefighters are looking for it, but
they haven't found it?
Oh no.
They did find it, but
there he is.
So
bless him.
You can't argue that that's not hilarious.
I was just trying to eat some candy corn, and then this happened.
I like how he's still moving his head like he can see.
Probably can see a little bit.
Maybe.
Deer aren't super intelligent.
So they did catch it, but like as they were trying to wrangle it, it got away.
Oh.
And so they weren't able to get They did say that it felt like when they were handling it that it was in good condition, and so they're hoping it can maybe do it on its own. But they are looking for it.
This is gonna be like the La Palma dogs. I hope we get like a follow-up story where they got out.
What's the headless horseman pun there? What was the real guy's name?
Ichabod Crane.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you adjust Ichabod Crane to be a deer with a pumpkin on its head? Engagement challenge. And the Canadians have had their own hacking incident, and more it seems like these monsters have figured out an easy target is healthcare.
NL Healthcare cyberattack is the worst in Canadian history, says a cybersecurity expert. It has real impacts on human life and safety. They got everything. They locked everything down. Everything was so centralized and controlled that they crippled not just one or a few hospitals, but an entire chain.
That is, I guess this is common knowledge, but like our hospital system, and I guess Canada's too, is built on these health networks. They're these giant conglomerates that own all the hospitals in a given area. It's crazy. And corrupt. Krista, we know that you're terrified of black holes.
Right.
And perhaps you have found some sense of security in the fact that black holes, in order to continue to grow and become more powerful, have to consume, right? And at some point, they're going to run out of material to consume, right? But you might be wrong. They might never stop growing.
Black holes may gain mass from the expansion of the universe itself. There's no stopping them. Oh, that's a great photo of one as well. Illustration photo.
One of the first ones we ever took. Of course, it's not a photo of a black hole. It's the photo of a black hole with things falling into it. Because you can't see the black hole. But yeah, they might just keep getting bigger forever. I don't know what that means for humanity. Nothing good.
Probably kill ourselves before that becomes a problem, right?
Oh, yeah.
We can only hope.
We're going to be a blink in the eye of a black hole.
Some scientist somewhere is going to be like, wow, I've created an artificial singularity, and then 5 minutes later, the Earth's not here anymore.
It's going to be that spin launcher thing.
The black hole eats the planet. It's like, oh, that tasted a little off.
the alien civilization historian is going to be like, then an Earth scientist named Bob Smith was doing research on making a tastier peanut butter when he accidentally created a singularity which destroyed the planet and solar system.
And every record of all of humankind's accomplishments.
It's like he was working on making more flavorful peanut butter. How does that result in the creation of a singularity?
Bob Smith, previously famous for being the second man to use Edge in Linux.
Who was the first? We don't know. All the records were lost when he made the singularity.
We, in this country, are suffering financially. Inflation is up. Pay has not kept pace with it. Prices are out of control, and people's savings are dwindling after 2 years.
People are sending other people giant bottles of Jif as a kindness.
I think you're unique in that regard. I don't think there's a lot of peanut butter gifts going around in the country right now. Maybe there is. I don't know. But there is another superlative that is a very, very bad sign.
Number of credit cards in the U.S. hits an all-time high. Open credit card accounts in the U.S. This chart here is insane. I saw another. This is the Axios version of the article. I saw another version of this that just said American debt is at an all-time high. It is probably the subprime mortgage crisis all over again. Remember when they were bundling good mortgages with like toxic, awful, McMansion mortgages?
I do remember. You know who else remembers? The credit card company. Right here it is. Ew, that was 2008.
Yeah.
Yep. Seems like we're on a similar trajectory, but higher.
Yeah.
Could the fall be bigger?
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. Chris, did you ever get a credit card?
We have one that we use for like household expenses, but it gets paid off at the end of every month.
You gotta maximize on that. Oh, actually, I know that hubby does the same thing that I do because he turned me on to. He goes further than I do. He runs the Discover 6-month. Tries to keep track of the one like, okay, today we're going to use this card because it's 5% off today.
Oh,
whereas
yeah.
next month it's going to be something else.
Yeah, he likes to try to get all the rewards and stuff.
I'm not willing to do that.
It's
Although,
like Pokemon. You got to collect them all.
with the inflation game, I found myself during the inflation game. It's like, all right, I'm going to go online here and I'm going to clip the online coupons.
Yeah, we do. We look at the advertiser that we get from the grocery store when we go.
We should build an AI that can use like the Kroger and the Kingship application to automatically just do everything, but in a way that's not hideously evil like honey.
That sounds like a Devember project.
They have a horrible UI. It's a show more, infinitely scrolling list, but you have to click show more. So our AI, if we're going to screen scrape that, it would be very complicated and annoying. And then you have to add those items to your cart through that same menu.
Ew.
It's all overlays.
It's designed not to be usable.
Meijer has a really nasty online ordering. It looks good, but it's not user friendly. Astroworld, I still don't understand. I know that we once did a news story about the guy that was on stage here with his Happy Meal. Remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I still don't know who he is or what he does.
He's a performer.
Is he a rapper, R&B?
I think he's a rapper.
So obviously he commands a large crowd, but things got a little weird, but that's not what this story is about. What this story is about is in the immediate aftermath of the weirdness, we got some scary, scary reports from the police chief. Where did he get that information? He made it up.
Police confirmed that nobody was stabbed with drugs at Astroworld. Houston police chief who perpetuated the rumor that somebody was injecting people with drugs has admitted that that is not true. Although the medical examiner said something, but no.
The medical examiner said, yeah, we've looked at these people. There's no fentanyl in anybody.
Yeah.
I saw Stab with drugs, and I was imagining just like a marijuana joint that had been filed down to a point, and like that's what I was imagining. I was like, stabbed with drugs.
Yeah, this guy had. So I think one of the security guards was embarrassed at how easily he was taken down because they just like smacked him on the head and he went down like a bag of laundry. And I think this was his way of being like, I don't know, man, I felt a prick, because he did say he felt a pinprick before he went out. But what he felt was somebody smashed him in the head.
Mm-hmm.
So completely made up. Every major news organization ran with that story. No one checked it out.
That was a chaotic event.
Now this one turned out to be a 2014 event.
What?
But they ran the story November 3rd. Did Insider just desperately need
We just needed some filler.
a headline? And so did we.
It was in the backlog for a long time.
Because we didn't have a lot of nonsense stories this week, so here it is.
Woman had to make a 9 porta potty stop while running a marathon and achieved a personal record. So she ate a bunch, but she had to stop at all the porta potties on the route. But she still had a personal best record for the run.
I really the way they portray her is great, because they point out her personality. Like, she's constantly doing marathons, and she's it's obviously in shape, and she's that kind of girl. But on the other end, she's so undisciplined that the day before the marathon, she's out like eating Mexican food. She had a big disgusting fast food breakfast right before the run. She got there 20 minutes late.
Oops.
What a
That's
great
fine.
gal. Now, Krista, as I was just saying, you have got to start making NFTs.
I don't think I can compete with the brilliance of this guy.
I can't imagine we're going to hang on to the monetization this week. But the thing about it is, the reason that this guy's making so much money, he did not go to the usual sites where you sell NFTs. He went to the new site, of course, that we've all heard of, that's now a household name, Cumrocket.
Oh, of course. Where else? You want me to read it? Naughty NFT artist Dick Cassos makes $100,000 in 12 days hawking pixel penises.
So, of course, we've got hits like Dongosaurus Rex and the Groin Ninja. I got to admit, they're creative. And they are interesting to look at. But would you pay $3,700 for one?
Someone did.
Someone did.
Or someone needed
Would you
to
hang
launder.
that in your dining room?
Someone needed to launder a lot of money.
Look at them. They are hilarious. I like how his abs are the veins.
It's creative.
So now he does not actually have that amount in money. What he has is several million cummies.
Oh,
Which
Lord.
are less than 1 cent per cummy.
What year is
The pipe. The names are so good.
It's not a pipe.
Well, he's smoking a pipe.
It was an art history joke.
Also, it turns out that this guy is the number one, but close on his heels are all the OnlyFans girls who have figured out that they can NFT their bodies.
Oh.
So you can see what's coming up on him there. I think that's a safe for work picture.
Let's hope so.
Oh, man. That guy's life has changed. And imagine like you're suddenly rich and it's like you go on a date and it's like, oh, what do you do for your living?
I would just not explain
How
that.
did you make your money?
We're not going to talk about that.
You could just say NFTs and she'd probably be like, oh, that's fine. Or I sell artwork, but then don't talk about the artwork.
And
That'd
then
be
she's going to be
difficult.
like, oh, can you show me some of your artwork?
There's a penis smoking a pipe.
I mean, I don't even know that if I would know what that is unless you told me that because it's so pixelated.
What if she like?
You could say it's a mushroom, right?
What if against all your expectations, she doesn't take it the wrong way, and she's just like, "Oh, what was your motivation for this?"
What's your artist statement?
I wanted to get in on the tulip bulb mania. That was the motivation.
Well, I figured this story fit well in nonsense just because there's not really a tech tie-in, but this is the kind of thing where it's just like, why do we accept this kind of stuff from our leaders? Why do we tolerate this?
Revealing Johnson's talks with BP is not, quote-unquote, in the public interest, the UK government says, because the public doesn't have an interest in knowing what the Prime Minister and BP talked about at the climate thing.
The quote was something like, it would threaten the candor of everybody involved if they thought this would be revealed. So in other words, if these people knew that you plebs got to hear what they would say, they wouldn't actually discuss anything.
Can we have like a memo after the fact then that's like, here's what we discussed? And
Here's an
agreed on?
outline, bullet points.
Yeah, I mean, something? I mean, come on.
No, you can't have that. You can't have anything.
I don't want our politicians' candor threatened. Candor.
I don't know how much candor Joe Biden has. Well, having a spy camera on the front of your house, probably a bad idea. It does increase your security, I suppose, but it also limits your privacy, and it can lead to these amazing moments.
Doorbell camera records California woman giving birth on lawn. I thought this was some sort of... I was prepared for this to be really horrible. It was her and her husband. They were like, let's get in the car to go, because they're only 5 minutes
Go
from the
poop
hospital.
the baby, yeah.
And then there was like, oh, there's no time. And so it happened on the lawn. But I thought she was alone. And she's like, I can drive myself to the hospital. And then it was like, no, I'm never going to be able to do that. But no, she wasn't alone. So that's good.
She took a one look at the leather in that car, in that passenger seat, and she was like, no, let's do it here.
I mean,
I'm making that up. That's not true. It is hilarious because she said she felt like a cow giving birth there on the lawn. And then when they did take her to the hospital afterwards, because obviously, you got to go through all the song and dance. And she said that they were like, the nurses had weird looks on their face, and they were like picking grass and straw out of her hair. She was like, yes, I gave birth on the lawn like a cow.
Sometimes it just happens that way. Sometimes it's fast.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, no, you got to hold it in. You got to
Just
hold
hold the baby. That's not how it
I
works.
don't think that's...
Once you're at a certain dilation, that baby comes out.
And NFTs, again, I will point out that the coming world that we're going to live in is going to be horrible, and NFTs are going to be a big part of that. If you're wondering how fast that will happen, it will happen insanely fast, as in already in motion.
The world's largest record company is creating an NFT supergroup. Kingship, consisting of 4 virtual apes, reimagines the idea of a band and a brand.
Oh, I can't scroll!
This just sounds like the gorillas with extra steps.
It is literally that. If you remember the famous apes that were sold for an insane amount of money,
Yeah.
it gave you the full rights to use them for whatever you wanted. When you bought that NFT, you owned the ape outright, which is what they're doing with these. It's those same apes. Yeah.
Reimagining the idea of a band. The gorillas already did this.
Well, if the world's largest record company is in on this, you know how terrible it is.
These apes are cool, but they're no Dongosaurus Rex.
That's the standard to which everything is held now. I'm really not looking forward to the NFT. Everything is monetized in a digital realm, but it's not like anything you actually own. It's just an idea.
If you can get it, if you can pick which one is going to go to the moon and get in on the ground floor of it, you could become mega rich. But there's going to be so many.
It's so terrifying.
A lot of
So
people are
many
going to,
rules.
they're going to lose their shirts on this stuff. You're going to buy the wrong penis NFT, and it's going to ruin your life.
It's going to be an Antiques Roadshow in 20 years. And
It's a counterfeit.
You can tell here that this is an original digital representation of the pipe by the veining.
It's very subtle. And then, he puts his signature down here, too.
Look closely at the frenulum. Now, this points out that this was done in the early 2021 before the style changed.
There's some old person there, like, listening very intently, as they do on Antique Roadshow.
Now, some of these have gone at auction for $2 million. Unfortunately, this one would probably only bring $12 at auction because...
And then it plays the sound.
They got to walk you through, like, they got to do the backstory and everything because they got to fill time. It's like, well, my grandmother was on Cum Rocket.
But it's bleeped in the future.
No,
because it'll be like Taco Bell. There'll be a giant.
Remember Idiocracy? It's like you go to, it's like let's go to Starbucks. It's like we don't have time for that right now.
In 2035, Cum Rocket is going to be to America what Samsung is to Korea.
Level 1 predictions.
Please join our Patreon or Flow Blame.
Because we're sure not getting paid for this one.
Nope.
All right.
Anyway, we'll see you guys. Bye.